So yoga classes, Pilates classes, strength training, all kind of do a good job of strengthening and stretching the hips. But what if maybe one hip might be a little higher or lower or forward or backward? It's hard to notice that when you're working it. So this practice will kind of allow us to feel the hips and allow us to maybe just do some subtle stretching. So what's nice about this is that it's not weight bearing. You're just going to be on your back the whole time. So it's great for the morning or a nice little relaxation at the end of the day. So you kind of lay in corpse pose and just get a feel of your hips sinking down. And so your hips, yeah, it just includes a lot of muscles and such, but just put your hands on the bony parts of your pelvis. So it's right here. And just notice like your lumbar spine, that little curve, you're just kind of being neutral here. And flex the right foot and imagine you're trying to extend the entire right leg longer. So imagine just like you're trying to push against an imaginary wall on the right. So you're trying to lengthen the leg. And you can place your hands on your hips, your pelvis, and maybe the pelvis might just kind of tilt a little bit. And just notice maybe how the core muscles might be reacting, the thigh muscles. So extending the leg straight, pressing it away, pressing the whole leg away from you. And let's do the other side. So left foot extending, left foot flexing. And you're extending the heel, keeping the heel on your floor, extending it away. And try not to push your butt up or anything like that. You're keeping your butt on the floor, your thigh on the floor, just extending the leg. And then this hip will hike a little bit. And just notice there's just some tightness here. Just all these little tissues are kind of getting a little bit of work, but nothing extraordinary. Okay, and then release and just try to windshield wipe your knees back forth just a little bit. And now imagine you're trying to take your right pelvis and try to lift it up, so directly towards the sky. So you're still grounding through the heels and you're trying to lift the pelvis up and sink the left pelvis down. So it's kind of like a twisting, but not. So notice the feeling in your right hip and your core muscles to do this very subtle action. And if somebody's watching you, they're like, what the hell are they doing? It doesn't look like much, but you feel something. And now let's try the other side. So the right hip sinks down, the left hip just kind of comes up just a little bit. So again, you're not really lifting too much, just maybe a few millimeters. Just notice that. And keep breathing deep. And then just kind of allow your hips to just kind of wiggle back and forth. And now let's just kind of do some tree pose. So tree pose standing can be kind of tough for some people, but it's easy when you do it on the floor. So take your right heel and just kind of rest the sole of your foot against the left calf. So just notice the opening in the hip. So the hip is in an external rotation here. And see how high you can, so you're still keeping the foot on the floor as you're raising your heel a little bit higher towards the groin and then coming back down. And so just kind of raise up. And just notice just the little different muscles in your hips and in your legs that are kind of subtly working to get you into this. Now let's try the other side. So left heel against the calf just to start and just get the hip to open up. Maybe it's a little tight. So many times, I'll like jack myself really high into tree pose without just allowing just the subtle movement here of opening the hip softly. So it's a little sticky here. Notice just as you move it up, like how sticky that is. And just maybe move it down, away, and move it back up. So this body awareness is really important, not only in yoga and Pilates and bar and anything else that you do, but also in like strength training, but everyday living. Just being aware of these subtle movements and how when one type of movement, one body part is a little constricted, it's going to affect the entire body. And so this stickiness on this left side is something that you might need to work with in some of your yoga classes or your strength training. And then finally, let's do an internal rotation. So this is when you will glide the right heel towards you and then keeping the heel on the floor and just moving, so you're not lifting the pelvis off the floor just yet. But just notice just the squeezing the leg towards you, towards the other side. And so I'm noticing there's some strain in my adductors, the muscles on the inside of my leg that are feeling a little weak. And let's do the same thing on the other side. So draw the heel in and then just move. And so I'm noticing a lot of stickiness here. So it's not necessarily on my adductors, but there's some weakness with the muscles, the core muscles. So that's something that might cause a little imbalance in some of my movements. And if I don't address them, they could cause some injury or just a little bit of pain. And then just extend both legs straight. And then just try to wiggle your hips a little bit. and then open your feet, and then just maybe lay in Shavasana for a few minutes. as you allow your hips to sink into the floor. So what's nice about this, I'm going to sit up. So what's nice about this is that it's something that you can do every day, or just maybe a couple of days a week when you just, after a hard workout, or just maybe when you start the day, just getting in tune with your body and how it moves, and just taking that body awareness as you move about life.